Instructional Technology Coordinator for Lampasas ISD, and today we're going to talk about how you can maximize Google and all of its many forms and features to create shared folders and e-portfolios for teachers and students to get work back and forth. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sign into a Google account as a student. So you can see here I'm in Safari. So I'm going to sign into a student account. This is a managed student account from lampasasisd.org. So we want first and foremost to make sure that we're going to be able to share with the email address that the teacher has used to set up their Google account. So if it was a teacher Google account that was created with lampasasisd.org, it'd be no problem. There's one other email address that students, at least in our district, can share things to, and that's a Google account that's set up with lampasas.k12.tx. So we're going to go ahead and create one of those accounts. So I go to google.com and type sign in, and I want to add an account. I'm going to create an account. And so what's important when you get to this screen is if you do not want a Gmail account randomly created for you, you want to use your current email address. There we go. Create a password. So it's important that I fill out all these fields. I've never had Google abuse my phone number, but it has been very helpful for resetting a password in case I forget, because they just text you a 6-digit code, so it's been very helpful. So I say next step, and because I'm using my own email address so that a random Gmail address isn't created and associated with my Google account, it's going to send a verification message to the email address that I chose. So I'm going to go to click on that link that they've sent me, and once I click on that link, I can add a photo now or later. I'm going to go later, and I'm going to go to Drive. And now I have created a Google account as a teacher with my existing email address, the lampasas.k12.tx.us, which I know students can share files with. They have permission to share to that email address. First thing we're going to do as a student is we're going to create a folder to share with the teacher. So I'm going to say create folder. I'm going to title it last name, first initial, then I'm going to put in the period, and then I'm going to put in the subject. And this is done for a variety of reasons. It's real easy once you start putting all these subfolders into your own folder for your classes. Google will alphabetize them for you so it matches your gradebook, which is really nice. Alright, so I have created a folder, and now I want to click on that folder as a student and share it with the teacher. So this is where I can adjust my share settings, and it says that anybody within our subdomain Lampasas ISD has a link can view this. I can leave that default if I want, or I can just say that I want to keep it private. So what I want to do is, I'm not worried about anybody having a link to my folder and being able to view it. I want to invite the teacher. So there's the teacher's email address, and I said that they can edit it. And I'm going to leave this notify people via email. I click share and save, and it's going to tell me, hey, you're sharing this folder with somebody outside of your Google Apps for Education subdomain, the @lampasasisd.org. Are you sure you want to do that? I'm going to say yes, I do, and done. And you heard the email that just hit my inbox that said this student has asked to share an item with you. So I'm going to click on the item, the title of the folder, and then up here in the top right hand corner I'm going to say I want to add it to Drive and open in Drive. And now you can see I'm in my Drive, and I'm in this subfolder right here. So I can click just to the left to get out of that subfolder, out of the student folder, and now I can actually see it. I can also do that over here. And now that I've got something in my drive, I can dismiss this little notification about installing Drive, which is a whole nother topic. So now I've got a student shared folder, and the other students would share their folders the same way. And what I would do is come over here and say that I want to create a folder myself, and I'm going to call this one second period. And I'm going to create another folder, and I'll call this one third period. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this student's shared folder and I'm going to move it by left clicking on the row and dragging over to the third period folder, and I stick it in there. And so now you can see in my drive I've got my second and my third period folders. Now what's really nice is I also have, now that there's a subfolder or another file within that third period folder, this little drop down arrow so that I can see any folders that are in here. So if there was another folder in there, it would be alphabetized automatically. So if I just click, create a folder, and we'll call this Smith J. Third English. Obviously I would want the student to do this, but I just want to show you how it alphabetizes it for you automatically so that it matches your gradebook. Alright, so now Calum has shared a folder with his teacher, and so at any point I can click as the teacher and see what's in the folder. So let's say that Calum wants to create a research paper or something like that. He can go into that folder where that he has shared with me already and create a document, and it's going to say, hey, this created document is going to inherit the share settings of the folder itself. So I say create and share anyway, and I'm going to title this. This is the demo paper. I click OK. What do you think of this title? Okay, so I've created it, and since everything autosaves in Drive, I can just click out of that, and you can see the folder, the paper is in that folder that's been shared with the teacher. If I go over to the teacher, we can see that it's already showing up in there for me. So if I'm a teacher, I can click on third period, I can click on Calum's folder, I can even click on Calum's paper, go into that, and it's going to say, these visits to this document are going to be recorded by the subdomain because this is a student account in the Google Apps for Education domain that's managed by Lampasas ISD. I'm going to proceed to open the document anyway. And now, as a teacher, I can say, I can highlight a portion of their text and I can insert a comment and say this needs work. And if I move over to the student and I go into that, now I can see that first the teacher, Eric Folks, is active in my file, my demo paper file, and if I click on the portion that's highlighted, it shows which comment is associated with it. So as the student, I can respond to it, and I said, this is all I can come up with. And I reply. And I go back over to the teacher and I can see that we now have a conversation going. Well, I guess it's good enough. How's that for high expectations? So what's nice about this is if I click on the comment, it shows what text it's attached to. Same thing would be true of a Google presentation like a PowerPoint. If I click off of it and then I click the highlighted portion, then the comment that is attached to it is going to show up as well. So if we have multiple text with different comments attached to each one of them, then the comment jumps forward that's associated with each one. And so we've got a great way to communicate and collaborate. So 5 students could be communicating at the same time on the same piece, or maybe it's just me and the student and I'm helping them through the revision process as they're creating their paper instead of just doing an autopsy of a finished paper, so to speak. So let's say we're all done working out this issue. I can click resolve, or the student can click resolved, and you can see it disappears from the margin of the paper and goes up into the comment history, where we can access it or restore it at any time. This is a great way to see a record of the communication and collaboration process that's happening between multiple students or student and teacher. Okay, so we have created a folder as a student and we have sent it over to the teacher, and within that folder we have created a file, a Google Doc, that the teacher automatically had access to. Anything that I upload into this folder, the teacher is automatically going to have access to as well. So that could be something that I upload right here from the browser itself. It can also be something that I upload from a mobile device like an iPad. So in this case, I'm going to go to Google Drive, and you can see once I sign into the Drive app, I've got the folder that I just created, and I can click the little plus and upload a photo or a video that I have created on the iPad. And I click the check mark, it uploads the picture in this case, and then if I just click on the little eye next to the picture, I can always move it to that shared folder that I have shared with the teacher. And I click move here and move. And now all of a sudden, if I click on that folder, I can see my demo paper that I created on a laptop, and I can also see the picture that I uploaded. So what about the teacher? Well, if the teacher goes back over to the folder and refreshes, they will automatically have access to anything that has been stored in there as well. Now, you notice the picture's not showing up right away. One thing that's really key in the Drive app is to drag from top to bottom to refresh the app with the online account. So if I go back over here now, you can see the picture shows up because it refreshed and synced to the cloud. So this is a real easy way for us to get all kinds of content to the teacher. So how do teachers get content to their students? Well, it's very easy to do. I'm in as the teacher right now, so I'm going to go back to my drive. There are my 2 different folders. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one, and I'm doing a little underscore there, I'm going to call this one Folks Handouts. I click Create. I go into my folder, and within this folder I'm going to create a document. Here are instructions for research paper. I title this document Research Paper Instructions. I say OK, and I just close the tab, and you can see within the Folks Handout folder there is the research paper instructions. So if I click back on my drive so that I can access that folder, I'm going to click on the row for the Folks Handout folders, and I'm going to click on the share options, adjust my share settings. And it says private, only I can access this. So I'm going to change this to anybody with the link can view. I only want them to be able to view my handouts. I don't want them to be able to mess with them because that could potentially change the formatting or create problems when other people try to access them. I just want them to be able to view it. They're going to be able to make their own copy and edit it later, but what's in the folder is view only. So I say save and done. And now what I'm going to do, it's still selected. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the little more drop down, and I'm going to say that I want to move this file. So if I click on Move, this pops up. And you can see any folders that have subfolders within them, I can expand by clicking the little drop down arrow. So if I hold down Command on a Mac or Control on a PC, while I select other folders, you can see I'm going to have this folder, Folks Handouts, in my drive, but it's also going to be in the student folders as well. So I click Move, and really what it's done is it's made copies. You can see it shows that it's shared right here. So anything I stick in the Folks Handouts is going to show up for the students. So here I've created this Google Doc right there within the folder, but I could also upload a file. Here's a little PDF. I'm going to say upload and share. So it uploads the PDF, and now it's in the handouts folder. Okay, so I can close this. Now what about the student? So if I go over to the student browser where the student's logged in, and I can now see the Folks Handouts folder already in there. If I click on it, it also shows any of the contents in there. So I can see the research paper instructions and the PDF. And on the mobile version, if I drag down to refresh, I can see the Folks Handouts there, and I click on that to go in. And I can also see the PDF or the research paper instructions. So I can see the handouts that the teacher has given me as well. Well, what if I want to actually be able to edit the research paper itself? In this case, I'm going to go in as the student. I click on the research paper instructions, and because the teacher has set that to view only, I shouldn't be able to make many changes to it. Let's see, anyone with the link can access, no sign-in required. Alright, so the teacher is giving me the ability to change their paper. So let's go ahead and go back as the teacher, adjust our share settings. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to click on the Folks Handouts folder, adjust my share settings, and I'm going to make sure that Folks C cannot edit it. So anybody who has a link can view it. Anybody who has a link can view it. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so I go back over here as the student and I refresh. And now you can see I've adjusted it so that the student cannot, and I'm trying to click and make changes here. I can double click on it, but I can't actually type anything. Student can't mess with my handout, but what they can do is they can do File, make a copy, and let's say they call this Calum's research paper. And OK, since they've made a copy, they are the owner of that copy and they have complete control over it. So I'm going to X out of that and X out of the handout version, go back to my drive, and now I've got that copy, the Calum's research paper, which I can make all the changes to I want right here within the cloud. You know, that's another one of the neat things about Google Apps. But the teacher's not going to have access to my research paper, so they're not, because I have not put it in the shared folder, the folder I shared with the teacher. So I'm going to just left click on the row, drag it into the shared folder, and so now in here we can see Calum's research paper. So if I'm the teacher, I go into third period and Calum's folder, I click on it, I can see anything that he's put in here. So there's my handouts folder, but here's his version of the research paper where he just took a template, made a copy, titled it, and then put it in the shared folder. So he can edit it and make changes and work on it, and I can see all those changes and do the commenting and help him along the way so that he ends up with a final product that he can be proud of and that I'm excited about as well. So that is a whole lot of information in a short amount of time, and fortunately with videos you can stop, rewind, and replay if you need to. Feel free to contact me with any questions. If you need any help, I'd be more than happy to help. My website is techforfolks.com. I've got lots of resources in there, and I've got a YouTube channel that focuses a playlist entirely on Google Apps and Drive that you're welcome to check out as well. Thank you for your time.